Welcome, everybody, to another episode of ARO Podcast. I am your host, Brett. This is episode 47, and I am joined this evening by one Angelo Giannoni. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate the applause for getting that correct.
Yeah, you aced the last name. So,
I thought about it very intently. Sometimes it'll burn you, though, if you think about it too hard.
oh yeah. I mean, I get everything. Giannini, Giannani,
Yeah. Well, here's
whatever
the
works.
million-dollar question. I've been thinking about this for 2 hours. Okay. So people will hear that and then hear this next question and go, God, that guy's an asshole. Um, do you know a lot of Angelos?
I do. My
You
dad.
do. Okay. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess you seem very Italian, so I would assume
yeah,
maybe you do know a lot of Angelos.
I do. I do. I know at least probably eight or 10 off the top of my head.
Have any of them ever gone by Jello?
People call me Jello.
Are you shitting me?
No.
Holy cow, I gotta write that down.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
College.
Love
It was
it.
in college with Jello.
Dude, that's amazing. I
Yeah.
would totally, because I'm weird like that. I would have requested that people call me Jello as well.
And then great
How,
grade
how did it
grade
happen?
school was Tangelo. Like a tangerine, but it's like a
Yes.
Tangelo. So
Yeah. And you
that's
probably have lovely olive skin with your Italian background, and you're probably very tan in the summertime. I
oh
get it.
yeah. Yeah, we caramelize.
Caramelize. Excellent. Excellent. I love it, man. So listen, I don't really know you other than Instagram.
Sure.
I really like that when I have these conversations with people because what I am trying to do with this podcast is get to know the people, not necessarily just talk about deer hunting. Like I want to know, the fact that people call you Jello. I want to know how that started. I want to know what drives you and what trips your trigger in the woods and in life and all that stuff. And so I
Yeah.
love that I'm gonna get to know you tonight. And I think that's great, man. Thanks for
I,
joining me.
I love it. I love this. This is a good change of pace. So this is sweet.
So I have a feeling that there may be people that I know who don't know who you are. So if you wouldn't mind, take a little
Sure.
time and as much time as you want and introduce yourself and talk about, your background in the outdoors, your life, your partnerships, some of the stuff that, whatever, just kind of get our mouth wet here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm Angelo Giannoni, live in Chicago. A lot of people are like, wait, you hunt and you're from Chicago? Like, yeah. So I grew up hunting my whole life. I started probably at the age of probably 6. Started going dove hunting with my dad, and I always wanted to get out into the woods with him, but he just wanted to wait to the right year. Started deer hunting when I was probably about 10 years old. Been in the outdoors pretty much my whole life. That's, like I said, I live in Chicago, but my heart's out there in the timber. So that's just, I never felt comfortable here fully just because all the noise and the cars, the traffic. And I'm fortunate enough to be moving out there this April. So I'm really excited to be moving closer to the properties.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't know that. Number one, my wife was asking me, who are you talking to tonight, and I
Yeah.
I sort of thought so. I have been spending some time in Northwest Illinois, and I kind of we talked a little bit after I shot a deer out there. I
Hmm.
thought you were over there, living over there, but maybe you hunt. Maybe you just hunt over there.
Yeah. I hunt over there, but I'm over there
Got it.
every weekend
Oh yeah,
with me doing property management work. So I'm working on the house currently. So
awesome.
it's a great time. I'm so excited to be moving out there and get out of this rat race of a city.
And so, are you in like Chicago,
Yep. Yep.
like
I'm
downtown?
I'm 10 minutes from O'Hare and maybe
Oh wow.
20 minutes from downtown. So
Okay.
I'm right in it.
That used to be my territory for work. So that's actually how I ended up kind of hunting in Illinois.
Yeah.
I was over there all the time, and I was like, I should be hunting where I'm working. I mean, this is one of the greatest buck states, deer to states to hunt in. Why am I not hunting here? So
Yeah.
interesting. See, I'm learning already.
Yeah. I'm actually, mostly in the Northwest area. So, that tip of Joe Davies County,
Hmm.
that's where I'm at primarily.
Is that where you
Um,
always hunted over in Illinois?
yeah, it's always been private ground. So I tell guys I
Okay.
hunt private. So Do want to get my bearings on public, but I got a lot going on right now, and public takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
It's you got to get out there and put in the work, put the boots on the ground, and not that private's not any work. I'm constantly doing land management stuff out there. If you follow along on
sure.
my Instagram, but eventually I'll get into
How did
public.
you get into all of that land management stuff?
So grew up very fortunate where we had a family property, and my cousin actually got a degree in environmental sciences, and he just started educating me more on maintaining a good timber stand and making sure to get rid of all these invasives. And I just took it another step further and started doing research on YouTube and just following a bunch of guys that have experience with it because I'm constantly learning. um, and that just got me super excited to try and build like a paradise for habitat. Not just to hunt
Yeah,
whitetails, but for everything.
that's it right there.
And I love it.
Yeah, I've listened to a few guys talk about how the big picture, the habitat as a whole complements every single thing when you do make those improvements. What has been the biggest, this, if you can think of maybe one, what's the single most noticeable improvement you did to get the most back?
In terms of, I would say switching my ag. So what I personally own 45 acres, and I switched 23 acres to CRP. Um, you know, CRP is great if you're looking for an income, and I need that income to help pay for the property. If I had to redo it, I would have left a little bit of ag, as like a food source, but I needed that income to help pay for the property. So after 10 years, I'll eventually take some of it out. But transitioning from that ag to all the CRP with all the grasses and shrubs, the numerous amounts of wildlife that I've seen bobcat, pheasant for the first time on my property, fox. Um, I'm in a tree stand, fox running right underneath me, bobcat coming up. I'm like, this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to kill a deer. I could sit here and just watch all this and leave with a smile on my face.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you say after 10 years, is that the mandatory duration of an agreement with
Yes.
them for
Yeah.
CRP?
Yeah. So in Illinois, I'm pretty sure for majority of CRP programs, it's 10 years. Same thing for with my forestry plan. I have my timber into a forestry plan that's going to help
Hmm.
with my taxes, come down, and then also help me remove invasives, and then they'll help cost share replanting a lot of those native shrubs and hardwoods and stuff like that. So
I have seen the quantities of trees that you have purchased. I'm like, dang, that's a lot of trees, man.
a madman.
You are a wild man.
you the thing is you have to put in the numbers.
Right.
I can't cage everything.
Hmm.
There's too many. So strength in numbers, put as many in as I can, and hope that the deer don't browse, all of them down, which
Yeah.
they probably won't. I'm going to let a lot of that grass come up, a lot of that woody browse come up and protect it. But I am protecting all of my oaks. I want all my oaks to be caged off and let those white oaks,
Okay.
give them a good chance if I can.
Yeah, definitely. Um, but speaking of Illinois and programs and so on and so forth, right off the rip, how do you feel Illinois Department of Natural Resources is doing as a whole for the state and for wildlife and conservation?
Not great. Uh, you know, the resources are there for people if they want to, put their acreage into a forestry plan or for, CRP. But you have to do a lot of work and digging. None of this was told to me. I had to go in and look for all these different resources. In terms of like the DNR and the management of CWD, and that's a rabbit hole that I could go down to. Terrible. I the way that they're managing that is just ridiculous. I think it's just a scam, wasting money. They actually sniped a bunch of deer right next door to our property, and that has completely changed the property over the last 10 years. Just night and day difference. So, I mean, I would personally do a $1 state in Illinois. That's just me. I know I'd get a lot of heat for that. Everyone wants to kill numerous bucks. I'd rather take one and let the rest grow.
Mm-hmm. And it's two, correct? As a
Yes.
resident.
Yes. It's two.
Okay.
I think there's, in the CWD counties, I think, and don't quote me on this. So if you haven't filled your second tag, or if you killed both deer with a bow and you still have a antlered buck tag, you're able to kill another one in CWD season. So,
Interesting.
so technically, I think in those counties you could take three.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I am aware. I actually learned of the sharpshooter program a couple of years ago, and it was really off-putting. Just and only because I was hunting over there, and it is a CWD county. Um, I've heard a lot of people who have complaints about the sharpshooting program. Here in Michigan, I can confirm that they just recently closed a couple of the metro parks near me to do a sharpshooting program as well. And so I don't believe that the county I live in is necessarily a CWD hotbed or a zone, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, and they don't it's not like they're just letting everybody in there to hunt. It is an urban area, even though it's not that urban. It's a relatively urban area, so it would be archery only. Um, but I just saw somebody today post on Facebook. Why wouldn't they open? Um, why wouldn't they open those metro parks to people who have yet to fill, who never filled their tag in the 2024-25 season? Give them an opportunity rather than bait the deer, which Michigan is a no bait state, just like Illinois.
Yep.
You're baiting the deer and you're just shooting them. And yes, they're donating the meat, but why wouldn't you just let it go to hunters?
It's
Have
common
you
it's
ever
common
heard
sense.
yeah.
It's
Have you
common
ever heard a
sense.
good argument on behalf of it?
I have not. Everyone in my area is sort of in the same boat. A lot of my guys around us have gone to the meetings and they've had to leave because they're just so frustrated.
Yeah.
They're like you said, they're using bait. They're worried about spreading the CWD. So you're putting a pile of corn there. All right, what happens if the deer that go to that bait, eat the bait and then end up leaving? All the saliva is all on this. There's no different than a licking branch or I don't
Are
understand.
they cleaning up every kernel of corn when
No,
they're done? No.
no, no, of course not. There's
Right.
so many guys that would love an extra doe tag or, just to go out and hunt even more. And
Yeah.
it's very frustrating.
Yeah. It's and Michigan has this we have this natural resource commission which is supposed to speak for the governor, and it's not really an arm of the DNR. They're appointed officials, and you could really, if you ever felt like getting frustrated about another state's DNR situation, Michigan's a really frustrated one. But similarly, there's a bunch of people, sportsmen, sportswomen, who are unsatisfied with the way that our states are managing the resource, and nobody's listening.
Yeah.
And I feel like there are no states in the United States of America where I have heard someone say, maybe one or two, maybe like Iowa, where
That's,
someone's like, dude, perfect. Everything they're doing is great.
yep.
It's
That's
Iowa,
what,
isn't it?
that's
That's
what
the
I was
only
going to
one.
say is Iowa.
It's the only one.
You're right.
Everybody's mad. Everybody is mad about something. And granted, I'm not naive to think that you're going to make everybody happy all the time.
Yeah.
But as a general consensus, it seems like the governing officials are not really speaking for the citizens.
No. And they have an agenda and they're sticking to it. They're not listening to the people
Yeah.
that voted them in or that could go back to politics too.
Yeah.
Um,
And
it's just
I think it does.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
We're
I,
the ones that they should be
right.
relying on for intel. We're
I
the
did
ones.
say that I don't have anything written down about politics, but here we go. It is my firm belief.
Rabbit hole.
It is my firm belief that the great state of Illinois and my great state of Michigan have a democratic governing body that does not want its citizens being self-sufficient.
Agreed. It's
And
Cook
I think
County. It's Cook County.
really, yes, it really is.
You look at our whole electoral map, it's all red, and then you have Cook County, Lake County, and then Champaign around
Yeah.
U of I.
Yep.
That's it.
And they make all the decisions for the whole state.
Correct.
Yeah, I think for us, it's like, I think it's Detroit,
Yeah.
Lansing, and Grand Rapids. So again, three cities, the most liberal minded folks happen to reside there. That's where it's very densely populated and they're making all the decisions. So um, that's
Now,
that's as
did
political as we
did
get.
they close? So for Michigan, did they close coyote season for a period of time?
Yeah, they actually closed it during fawning season. Yeah, yeah,
Does this?
yeah.
So I have a lot of buddies and family in Michigan, so I hear a lot of the stuff that's going on over there, and I just couldn't wrap my head around that. Like,
One
what
thing
are
I
you
have written
doing?
down is you seem so mild mannered. Like you're smiling. You're very smiley,
Always.
very happy go lucky. And that's really, I'm not trying to flirt with you or nothing, but it's very enchanting. Like you bring people to your page. And I feel like you stay there because you seem to be a very genuinely happy and positive person.
Yeah.
Uh, what we are talking about can really get people's blood boiling.
No,
Does
I'm boiling. It's
do
just
you ever
I
do you
don't
ever
show up.
like do you ever fly off the handle about it?
Yeah. Yeah, especially this election, this go around. I My wife sees more of it than anyone else does. She's like, you need to stop looking at social media. I'm like,
Yeah,
like you're not wrong. Uh, but I love to smile. It's an easy thing to do and it could make someone's day. It doesn't pay to be angry and be a dick to people. It just doesn't pay,
I appreciate
you
that
know.
about you. I appreciate that about you a lot. I really, truly, I truly do. It's hard to live that way in this
It's tough
today.
in this city,
Yeah.
and in this city there's so many people that are like driving.
Hmm.
I'm mild mannered now, but when I'm driving in this city, I have like the most road rage. I'll be on the phone with my wife and she's like, "Who did you just yell at?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Some idiot.
Doesn't know how to drive.
Have you ever
Yeah,
seen Office Space, the movie Office Space?
I have not.
Oh man. All right. Well,
I'll put it on my list.
in the opening scene with the credits still rolling is a
Yeah.
very mild mannered office man listening to an incredibly aggressive rap song. Just it's like the dichotomy there. Anyway, I just wanted to say I do appreciate your genuine
Thank you.
uh upbeat, very positive influence on social media. I was just curious if you ever really lost your cool about stuff. Sounds like maybe you do.
Sports.
Really, you're a sports guy.
Oh God. Yeah, I'm a big Michigan fan, so Michigan, I'm a Patriots fan.
You're a
Hawks.
Michigan fan. How does that sit well with your friends over there in Illinois?
I get shit all the time. All the time. Like all my cousins went to U of I. A lot of my friends went to U of I. So it's all right.
What's
I
your
got a lot of
connection to
but
Michigan?
like I said, I have a lot of family in Michigan
Oh,
and
okay.
a lot of my good buddies are from the state of Michigan and just Tom Brady. Can't go wrong.
Hard
So
not to like that guy.
nah, he's the GOAT.
Did you
So
listen to him on? Did you watch the Super Bowl?
I did.
Did
I did.
I was really paying attention to him talking. He was like poking fun at Kevin Hart. Like, how did they find him in the stands? Because he,
Oh yeah, because of the roast.
yes,
And that whole
oh, that
like
was pretty
last
good.
the last 5 minutes was just like debunking Mahomes being the GOAT over him.
Yes,
It was just pure cinema. Just
it was great.
he beat him on the field and now he was commentating on the loss. It was great.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Michigan, you did have some Michigan success this past season.
I did.
But you also had success all over the place.
Yeah,
You were a wild man last
I
year.
I killed a couple good deer in Illinois and Michigan and I hunted with my good buddy Ethan up in Traverse City
Oh, you went
and
up to TC, huh?
dude, it was one of the worst snowstorms too. Like
Yeah.
it normally takes me 5 hours, 5.5 to get up there. It took me over 8.
Oof.
It was worth it,
Yeah.
but man, I mean, the fact that there was snow down helped us because we were able to get on deer pretty quick on public.
Right.
And but it was just a great experience. First time hunting Michigan for whitetails, and then with him by my side, it was perfect. It was absolutely great.
Was it regular gun, or was it muzzle loader?
It was gun season.
It
Yeah,
was gun
it was
season.
like near the end of it.
Okay,
It
very
was
nice.
right after Thanksgiving.
And and with your $2 in Illinois, um,
So I killed one buck in Illinois. Guy is a buck that I was going after for since last year. He's a
okay,
five and a half year old, and it was just again picture perfect. I get up into the stand. I knew he was in the area. I got a picture of him on my place. So I'm like, he's gonna be circling around checking the bedding. I snuck in. Sure as shit, here he comes down off the ridge and comes maybe 6 yards in front of me, quartering two. I'm comfortable putting a frontal shot on deer. I've killed numerous deer that way, and I put it right on the brisket and smoked him. He went maybe 50 yards and dropped, and it was great. My dad was there too.
oh, that's
So
huge.
my dad's my wingman. I do everything with him, and to have him there and share that, it was emotional. It was good. I love it.
That's huge, man. I love that. I love watching your success. And again, you always look like
Thank
you're
you.
having such a great time.
I am.
Yeah.
Like look at how lucky we are to be in like a great country doing what we love. I mean, I could go 2 hours northwest and hunt the animals that I love to chase. Got family around me. Like there's so much to be thankful for. That could be in a lot, different situation. And man, it's awesome. You gotta
It is.
love it. You gotta love it.
Yes, sir. I completely agree. Um, you seem to be a very faithful man. You are very into your faith, and you incorporate that with everything that you do. Um, is that something that you've always kind of been into?
Yeah, I grew up, Catholic, went to, Catholic grade school. I went to an all guys school that was Catholic. That's just how we grew up, Italian and Mexican, very, very Catholic, very strict. We went to church every Sunday. Me being busier, I haven't had the time to, or made the time to go, to mass, but my way is I'm in the woods, and, that's been my church of late. I do go as much as I can, but I feel closest to the ones that I've lost out there. Everything that I do out there, I just see, my uncle or my grandfather, my grandmother, and it's beautiful when I'm out there, just because I feel at peace.
Yeah. I am not a man of faith. Not that I'm not anyway, what I mean is I did not grow up that way. I did not
Yeah,
grow up in a religious family. I did not go to church routinely. Um, but to echo what you just said, there is something when you are out in the wilderness and you watch the sun come up and you hear the animals wake up, and conversely, when you watch the sun go down and everything starts to quiet again, there is something very spiritual about
yeah,
being out there, and it really resonates with me. And I just similarly, I feel so at peace when I'm out there. Um, I feel closer to everything when I'm out
yeah.
there. And so that's my church as well. I love that, man. That's really awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's nothing better. I always think of, my grandfather was big into the hunting. That he was the one that started everything. He,
Okay.
taught all my uncles, my father. He came from Italy. They used to hunt over there, and he came over here and didn't really know what he could hunt. So all he knew was small game. So he'd go for rabbit, he'd walk the train tracks, kick a pheasant. And then they started to learn about turkey and white-tailed deer. The turkey weren't prevalent like how they are now. That's a huge
So
success
many turkeys
story.
over there.
Yeah, now we're loaded.
Yeah.
Um, but then they took the initiative to buy a piece about probably 35, 40 years ago, and now we've just kept it in the family, which I'm super thankful for.
When did your grandfather come over?
Oh, geez. It was right after the war.
Okay.
So my grandmother had to come over first. She had to know somebody in order to come here. She had to have like a sponsor.
Mm,
And then he came over years later.
okay.
So I imagine that, like you're married and
Oh,
then
wild.
your wife leaves and then you come over a couple years later. Like,
I'll be there. I swear.
yeah,
There.
unreal,
Yeah.
unreal. Hardest working man I ever knew.
That's amazing. And I'm really interested in the hunting in Italy thing. I have heard, I've never it's not something I've ever looked into, but I have heard that hunting over in that part of the world is very difficult. It is not nearly as simple as it is, even though we make it sound very complicated here.
Yeah.
Um, it is not that way over there. Have
No.
you ever
No.
heard? Do you know anybody that hunts over there currently?
Uh, yes. Not the way that they should be.
Oh, well,
Just
we don't have to dig into it then.
like my grandfather, they hunted to eat.
Yeah,
And that was their way of, putting food on the table.
right.
Who knows what they had in terms of regulations back then on,
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
So currently, yeah, we won't go down that road.
that's okay. I know a guy, and I tried to get him to come on here, but he was like, "Dude, I don't want to talk hunting." So okay, man, no problem.
Yeah.
But he shot. I may screw this up, but I'm pretty sure he shot a red stag in Latvia,
Whoa.
and he was like the first American because he's there for work. He was like the first ever American to shoot a red stag in Latvia
Ugh,
or
that's a
something similar to that. And I was like, I want to talk about that.
that's a dream.
Incredible. Um, but he made it seem like it was incredibly complicated.
I'm sure.
He allowed to hunt there. Like he couldn't have just gone hunting. He had to be with a Latvian to
Hmm.
then take him somewhere. I was curious if maybe Italy was similar
Well,
or different or
they're probably just as strict.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to hunt in Italy. I do know that. Yeah.
Hmm, I'll be damned. Back to your faith. I don't know if you still are or if partnered maybe with Elevate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah. I
feel like
love Josh and Jared, Brittany.
they're
They're all
they're very faith
amazing.
based, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, I thought so too. Was that just like a no brainer fit, or did you seek them out, or did they seek you out, or
So one of my buddies, John, he's out in Kansas, and he knew them from, obviously being in Kansas too. Elevates out of Kansas, Hutchinson,
Mhm.
and we just clicked. They're just great, like-minded people. Even if you haven't met them, they'd welcome you like they've known you for years. Just amazing, amazing family, and it just worked out. Like the whole crew, everyone that's a part of Elevate, they're just awesome, awesome guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been to a trade show that they were at, but I have talked to
Uh,
them periodically again through Instagram, and they
mm,
just like genuinely great people. Yeah,
yeah,
that's nice.
yeah, they definitely are. I think they usually do some of the mobile shows in Michigan.
Yeah,
They'll be at Iowa. I think they're at NWTF.
they were there last year, and I was there, and it was the first day of the Mobile Hunters Expo,
Hmm.
and they were swamped, and I never stopped by and said hi. You're right, they were there. That was my bad. I should have said hi.
Was that Kalamazoo?
It was in Kalamazoo. Yep.
Yeah, I was at that one on Sunday.
Yeah, I went on Friday afternoon because that's all I had in the schedule.
Yeah,
But I like that. I like that show. I liked seeing all the people, the faces. Man, I got to check out a bunch of cool stuff. I
I
really like
love
it.
I love the trade shows.
Yeah.
It's you talk with people on Instagram and online stuff like that, but when you can actually put a face,
Yes.
to that account and you get to meet them in person,
Yeah.
I love that. I'll do as many trade shows as I can handle. They are exhausting. Um, it's fantastic to meet. There's a lot of good people out there still in the industry, which is nice.
Yeah. You wouldn't know it when you get on Facebook and you look at all the hunting community groups. It's exhausting
It
looking at
is.
those things. It is sad and demoralizing,
Hmm.
and you really wonder how we're going to make it, not just as a society, but as
Yeah,
hunters. How are we going
yeah.
to make it,
We're
man?
all we're all on the same team. That's the thing. It's just
Oh,
people get so bent out of shape about stuff. I'm like, God, we got other shit to worry about. Like, come on.
and they're posting shit because they know it's going to rile people up.
Yeah,
Just want to argue. I'm like, oh my god, you guys,
yeah,
aren't we
yeah,
adults?
yeah. It's getting bad. But we try to focus on the good things, the positive, and
Yeah.
those shows really bring out a lot of the positive. You
Yes.
hear their stories, like it's about them. I don't want them to come up to me and talk about myself. I ask them how their season was, and
Yeah.
they'll be showing me pictures, and it's awesome. It's great.
And when you were there in Kalamazoo, were you working their booth or were you with Ozio?
I just stopped through.
Oh, okay.
I
I got you.
stopped in to see Rendell was over there. I think Andy
Yeah,
May was there the day before. But I stopped there to say hi to Rendell, and then I stopped over to see Jared, and I helped them break down their boots. You know,
nice.
it's you just offer a hand. You
Yeah.
know, they do so much for us, so it's the least that we could do.
And when you said when you started getting into these partnerships in the industry, uh,
Mhm.
was this something that you kind of always wanted to do, or was it just because of your personality and your presence on social media? Um, were they kind of drawn to you?
So we're a team. So like Legacy Pursues our team, and we have a great team of guys. You know, John's moving over to Midwest Whitetail. We're
Saw that.
super pumped for him. He's always had like that other level of wanting to record everything.
Mm,
So this is going to be perfect for him. Um, no, I really took a step back this year from filming just because I felt like it overtook my experience in the woods.
oh yeah.
I was super focused on getting everything on film, and it took away from the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not want that this season. And this was by far the most fun I've had all season. It was just me, my bow, and Mother Nature, and it was fantastic. Um, but no, like I've never wanted to have these sponsors or anything like that, or it's just not for me. But if I could help other companies out, and they're all companies that we chose to be with, we're not doing it for discounts or anything like that. We do it because we believe in their gear, and they're great people. And at the end of the day, that's why we do it.
Let's talk
You
about
know?
Legacy Pursuit.
Yeah,
Is that your baby?
yeah, that was John. John really wanted to form a new group. We were originally on Whitetail Bloodline, and just things weren't going the direction that we wanted. And
Mm,
so John, myself, and Tyler Wilbur, and we created Legacy Pursuit. We brought Ty Forbes on this year out of Massachusetts. Great addition, awesome dude. Have you had him on the podcast?
no, but so another buddy of mine, Matt Lear, was doing the Mobile Hunters Dojo, and we started at the same time, and
Okay.
we were like basically alternating guys, and I'm like, I'm gonna let him pump a few out to see who he's got on done, and then I'm
Yeah,
gonna circle back and then kind of recycle through some of the guys. But
yeah.
he's a great dude. I like him a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, both ties are awesome. John's a great guy too. So we had a great team, and we just wanted to create something where our motto is family, faith, and conservation. So that's just what we're focusing on. We love getting photos with our family members, and keeping our faith involved, but also giving back to the environment because there's only so much land. That's why I try
Right.
and tell people, I'm like, there's only so much land. Like if you could, I know there's a lot of guys that just hunt public, but if you could buy a piece and just hold on to it and just build it back to how it should be, man, there's nothing more rewarding than having your own piece and just tailoring it to meet meet your goals that you want.
I love it so much. I say that all the time to my wife. Um, we've got three kids. I have a 14-year-old daughter, an 11-year-old son, and a 6-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
If if I would have known when they were younger that this is what I really wanted to do, like
Yeah.
big time, um, I probably would have bought land somewhere, but or moved my family somewhere different. Even though my family is here from Michigan, I want land so bad. But my daughter's like, I'm not moving, and my son's like, what am I gonna do without hockey? So we're gonna be
uh
here for a little while, but I'm gonna buy land.
yeah,
Mark
there's
works.
there's only so much there's only so much of it. And
I want to do that. What you've been doing, I want to do that too.
yeah, I prefer the land management side. So people might call me nuts. I honestly prefer this period of time from when the season ends to, let's just say July, August, almost as much as killing deer. I just love it. Like just
I don't think that's crazy.
building the habitat and then seeing all, like I don't have to kill to be happy. There's so much reward in what I've been putting into this place, and it's not even at its max potential yet. So it's gonna get there. I,
Were you always like that, or did it take you a while to get to that mentality of I don't
uh,
have to kill to be happy?
no, I was a killing machine as a kid. I if it was brown, it was down. And then I started to get more into the land management and just the herd management and realized that we could, kill more mature deer and let these younger ones go. It's, we have a lot of young cousins and a lot of younger individuals, and I want them to get hooked. So I tell them, you kill whatever you want, that whatever makes you happy. I'm not going to tell you, oh, you can't shoot that fork, because then he's going to be like, well, the heck, I want him to get hooked. And then once he figures it out for himself, then we can start to manage with him.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say probably about 4 years ago, I really started to, right before I bought my place, I really was like, all right, let's start killing mature deer. I don't
Did
care about
some,
rat. I'd rather kill older deer than, obviously it'd be great
yeah,
to kill a freaking 200, sure.
sure.
But I'd rather kill 140s the rest of my life, 130s, mature
Was
deer.
there a single event that flipped that switch for you?
Yeah, I killed an absolute bruiser, 7.5-year-old buck. He just had the nub on one side, fucked up. I actually got the antler down here. Let's see if I could get it. Move my station here. Such a shitty spot in my apartment. But this is the buck. Just super, super old and gnarly.
That is so thick, though. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, the mass.
yeah. He actually broke our pulley when we're trying to get him all butchered up.
Holy moly.
He was an absolute unit. And I was just amazed by the age and just how big he was. And that was probably the point where I'm like, all right, I love killing older deer. It was just fantastic. Just huge. He had three levels of neck roast.
And
Yeah.
have a little bit of history with him. Like, was there a story that you had then created that got you to this point, which then flipped that switch? Or was it like he just showed up and you were like, oh,
Just yeah, I've never really set my eyes on like a deer until maybe 3 years ago when I
really?
killed my first target buck that I was going after.
Mm-hmm.
That year he came in within 10 yards and smoked him again in the brisket.
Wow.
And I like taking brisket shots. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but they work for me.
What do you
I,
shoot? What broadhead are you using?
I use rec. I use XPs,
Okay.
selection animals. I've had great success with them.
Yeah,
So I use a Canadi and Zinger. Great guys. So it's been working. The setup's been working. I'm not going to change anything.
sure.
Um,
And the
yeah.
reason I ask is I found myself twice this year in a situation to take a relatively frontal or full frontal shot, and
Mhm.
I've never done it. And I'm sort of like surveying everybody that has, or and then also found success and what they're using and what did and did not work. So I'm selfishly
Yeah, a fixed would be ideal. You're going to get more penetration, but within 10 yards, I'm
that's pretty
crushing it.
close, man.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
crushing it. I'm never going to take anything outside of 15, 20 yards.
yeah,
That's not going to kill the animal quickly. That's just my mindset about it.
sure, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We're talking about old deer. Let's talk about that gigantic deadhead that you found. And I had made a note in my brain, which
Primo.
Primo. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's what I was going to go try to figure out what it was. Primo. Let's
Yeah.
talk. Tell me about Primo.
Giant. He was bigger
Like
the year
six,
before.
60 inches wide or something.
Yeah. He was the year before he was probably 2 foot wide.
Oh,
Yeah.
baby.
I had him at 23, I think 23 and a half when I measured him. The year before he was bigger. Yeah, he was
Golly.
mid 160s and just an absolute beautiful, beautiful buck. I had one encounter with him that year before, and he came in 10 minutes before the legal shooting light. Saw him, knew it was him, and just like can't do it. Just that's just my
Yeah.
moral compass. I just couldn't do it. He was probably within 30 yards. And he was on my place the whole year. It was just a cat and mouse game. Literally a day before gun season, daylight right underneath my stand, bumping does through. And then the following year, this no, so that was so last year, so it was 2020. When did I find him? It was 2025, 2024. I found him in December of 2023, I believe. And he was gone, since September. I'm like, this is not good. And
Mm.
I went down where I thought he was bedding, and sure enough, he was down in there dead.
Real and was he dead to the extent? So if he disappeared in September and you found him in December, is it safe to assume that he was dead that duration and he was composed beyond
I think I
repair?
got a last video of him running through that day that he died.
Oh,
Same velvet. So he was barreling through my timber, and I don't know if he got hit from a car up above or something
hmm.
happened. And he had the same strand of velvet that was in that video and photo when I found him.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. He was just a
You had
beautiful.
him aged, right?
Yeah.
What did he come back at?
Was it 8.5, 9.5? I gotta
That's an
look at it.
old deer, man.
Yeah.
That is a really old
Crazy.
deer. I've not done a good job remembering recently to have people that I'm talking to share on their Instagram handle so people can follow along. So let's do that right now. Where can people go see
Oh,
pictures of
sure.
Primo? What's
Yeah.
your IG handle?
I'm the Hunting Life 365.
Perfect. And I'll have him included on this post as well in this episode notes.
Uh,
Um,
he was known by quite a few people
oh
around.
really? He was a legend, huh?
Yep.
Did that
There's speculation on how he
oh
died.
well, I will share a picture with you later. Uh there's one that I was chasing for 2 years up there. Come to find out there was another guy who also was getting that deer on camera. And I've started talking to him. He shared some pictures with me, and that deer disappeared this year as well. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense as to why he disappeared. And he and I both suspect some shenanigans probably went on.
Hmm.
That's really unfortunate, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really unfortunate.
It is what it is. But I was glad to close the story and get my hands on him. I started crying.
Did you
Like
really?
you get so attached to these animals. Um, you build these habitats for them, and to see this guy on camera literally every day, just I knew his routine like the back of my hand. I felt like this was the year I was really going to put him down, and just poof, gone.
Yeah.
2 weeks before the season, I'm like, golly, like what happened? Like there was no sign of EHD that year. And I was completely stumped. I'm like, there's no way he moved because he's been in this property for probably his whole life. We're starting to see his genetics actually come around, which is nice.
Mm,
So it's
very
cool.
nice.
Yeah, we'll have some primo juniors hopefully.
Yeah, that's when you build a habitat and you care so much for the wildlife that you're building that habitat for. I've never had that opportunity, but I can only imagine that you do definitely grow closer uh,
Yeah,
with the herd. And as somebody who's as serious as you are, as a conservationist and an outdoors person, it makes a lot of sense that you cried. And
yeah, I love these
yeah,
animals. So, people that don't understand hunting, like, oh, you just go out there and kill. I'm like, there's so much more to it.
so
Like
much more.
if you were to just talk to me and really understand on why we do this, man, it gets you emotional. Like just talking about like growing up with my dad and my grandfather hunting, those are the memories that I'm gonna have my whole life. And a
Yeah,
lot of my best memories are from being in the woods. Like how many people get to say that?
not many, not enough.
Myself.
Yeah,
So yeah, I love it. It's a
for sure, man.
big part of me.
Um, kind of a silly question here. When did you know that you could be a mustache guy?
Where do you come up with this?
Well, you grow an exemplary mustache in the fall a lot of times.
Yeah, I do it one to annoy my wife, and
All
two
right,
just
there it is. There it is.
two, I feel like I could rock a pretty good mustache. So
It's a good one.
yeah, I figured not many people are blessed and don't have the opportunity to do it, so I might as well
Mhm.
do it. It's my rut stash, so
It's impressive.
people know when I'm ready to get into killing mode.
That's a fact. Do you get a lot of flack from people at work about your mustache when you
Oh,
got the more
yeah,
corn?
all the time, all the time. Freddie Mercury. They called me that one guy from Fox. What was his name back in the day?
Geraldo.
Yeah, they call me him. So my badge at the hospital has me with my mustache on. So they see me now. They're like, "Yeah, we're glad you shaved that mustache." I'm like, what? I'm
Amazing.
like, nice to meet you too.
This was not intentional, but I just had a podcast come out today, and yours will come out in 2 weeks. Um, you are both, you both have incredible mustaches when it's time. Like,
Oh yeah.
it was all the time. Yours is obviously the rut stash. That was not intentional. It's just the universe.
Did you get one with what stash wash?
I should. Yeah, like, he's one of the ones that was on that rotation. I'm like, I gotta wait now. I gotta wait now. I gotta wait now.
Yeah,
But
he'd be a good one too.
yeah, he would be a good interview.
Yeah,
Um,
I love a mustache.
so you did a little traveling, and you do a lot of traveling. You do a little traveling, I should say.
I
Um,
do.
where has been your favorite place to hunt other than your personal property?
Uh, I love to travel. I tell people travel as much as you can. People are gonna be like, "Oh, I'll wait till I retire and I'll travel." Do it now. Travel with your kids. There's nothing like it. Um, South Africa was amazing.
Oh, I forgot you did that.
Yeah, South Africa was amazing. I had my wife there. That was our honeymoon, and she actually harvested her first animal out there. So that was special to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what a way to start off your,
No kidding.
hunting in South Africa, at least. Like, come on. I loved Kansas. Kansas was great. It's just a different world out there.
Mm-hmm.
Just you're out there, like, where are these deer coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I loved PA. I really do. I love PA. So we're actually going to be doing some deer drives this year
Okay.
with Tyler, and we're gonna have Ty Forbes come down. So hopefully John's able to make it in from Kansas, and we're gonna do some deer drives. I
Sweet.
love PA. People are like, "Oh, it's super high pressured." I'm like, "Dude, it's awesome!" Like deer camp,
So
come
is
on.
Michigan, and you just were successful here.
Yeah, I love Michigan too. Anywhere I go, I really enjoy. We're doing what we love.
Yeah.
It's I'd love to go out west and obviously go for elk one of these days. That's probably on my bucket list, but I would not be able to just go out there and go kill. I would need some other guys with me.
Yeah, for sure. I hear that.
Yeah, I need
Do you
I
have
need
any
I
plans
need.
this year to do any out of state stuff?
We'll be doing PA. Probably just gonna well for turkey. I'm gonna go down to Kentucky and
Mm.
hunt with the guys from Waterfeather. So we'll get after some birds down there and then hunt Illinois. But this year is sort of financially, I need to stay home or closer to
Yeah.
home.
Understood.
Just
Understood.
just bought a house, so
Yeah,
oh my God.
that's how it goes.
Yeah, eventually I'd like to jump into Wisconsin and start putting in points for Iowa since I'll be right on the border. We're in the
Yeah.
tri-state area, so
Okay.
yeah.
That's exciting stuff, man.
Yeah.
I know that you're like, oh, I gotta stick around. I gotta stay close. But that sounds like a pretty great year.
Yeah, no, I'm not complaining one bit.
Yeah.
Not complain. If I could travel and hunt as much as I could, I would.
Will your wife, let's hypothetically speaking, or maybe even when you did go to Kansas, like, will your wife go with you?
So no, I brought my dad along.
Mm,
For the bigger hunting trips, I want to have that experience with him.
yeah.
He never got to do that. He
Hmm.
never got to travel to these different states and hunt. And he loves the crew that I'm with. He loves the guys. So it's like a deer camp in different states. He loves it.
So he
Um,
went to Kansas with you?
he did.
What did he
Yeah,
think about it?
he loved it. It
Yeah.
was just all the guys together, and I had a great hunt. I hit the buck a little bit further back than how I wanted. He was quartering away, so I was confident that I got the arrow, in enough behind that shoulder on the exit. But the blood was terrible.
Mm.
I don't know if it closed up, and then I had a bunch of coyotes coming in. Soon, maybe 20 minutes after I shot, saw him bed, and here come a group of coyotes. I'm like, shit. So they must have bumped him because then I lost sight of him.
Mm.
So we had to come back the next day and get a dog. And my dad actually found the buck, not the dog.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
we're maybe like 400 yards away. I hear him yelling, "Ange!" I'm like, what? He's waving. So I start running. I nearly break an ankle. It was great.
That's
Having,
exciting.
yeah, having all the guys there. We took a group picture. It was a very special moment.
That
Yeah.
is
But
that is great.
my wife will be going after a turkey this year. So
Very cool.
yeah, she's pumped.
There in Illinois.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna focus on her. So it'll be good. I'm excited.
So
She's
when you do like your postseason scouting, do you like to go shed hunting and
yeah,
even
I
would
love to
imagine?
do all that. It's
Yeah.
just finding them. I feel like I just can't find them out by me. It's
Do you
just
think it's because you're looking at the big picture all the time and not just looking for antlers?
yeah, my place is more of like a rut farm
Mm,
right now. So from middle of October to that week before gun season is absolutely fire. Same thing with the family property. Family property's got a lot of pressure just because they're constantly doing work out there, and
mm.
there's a lot of us. So can't expect too much deer activity during the day when you have constant activity and pressure,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
So that's why I leave my piece is more like a sanctuary. I hate using the word sanctuary, but I try to stay out as much as I can
Hmm.
during the season and, you know, go in when I need to, stack the deck and go in when I'm ready to kill.
Makes sense. Do you prefer to bow hunt or gun hunt or you just
Bow
whatever?
hunt. Yeah, I love to bow hunt. I will take the gun out for a doe, or if I'm going, up to like a public piece where I need to get a little bit more range. Um, love to bow hunt.
When you talk about your grandpa coming over all those years ago and learning to hunt from him, I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that he wasn't doing a lot of bow hunting.
No, no, there
How did you
there
get into that
was
bow hunting?
so my one uncle, he actually was the only one to bow hunt.
Hmm.
Everyone else just gun hunted. So we had 2 weekends to gun hunt, and I noticed that he was out there for numerous weekends, and the season was so much longer for him. I'm like, oh, like more time in the woods. Let's do that. So I started in high school and killed my first buck the first year I picked up a bow, and been bit after that. It's been great. It's a
There's
whole different
something
whole different perspective.
there's something remarkable about being that intimate with them because you have to be.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it changes you big
you
time.
gotta figure them out. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about it, that chess match, back and forth. Okay, doe busts you. All right, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna access this point without busting deer? I love the mind game of chasing these animals. It's fantastic. A lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah.
A lot. My wife's like, "Oh, you're thinking about deer." I'm like, "Yep, yep."
Yeah. If I look at my phone first thing in the morning, my wife will be like, "You got some deer pictures coming in right now? Some cell cameras going off?"
Yep. It has been nice keeping the cell cams off the past month and a half.
Yeah.
It has been nice.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Uh, you seem like a guy who would be a perfect fit to like mentor youth hunters. Is that something that you do? Do you really kind of work with the next generation?
So within my family, yes. And anyone that reaches out to me on socials, I try to help out. I don't know everything. If I knew everything, you know, I could be selling everything that I'm doing, but I'm constantly learning and I love, going back and forth with people. Okay, this is what you do, this is what I do. How can I take what you have done
Yeah.
and put it into my pieces? And I do love that aspect of it. I've seen my younger cousins grow up to love the outdoors and love hunting, and they're bit, and that makes me so much more happy. I'd rather have them hunt and I just sit back and just watch. It's weird. Like it's come to the point where I'm okay just sitting back and watching them have success because it just brings me so much joy.
Oh, it's because you used to be a killing machine and now you're
Yeah,
a mentoring machine.
I killed anything. It's I hopefully, knock on wood, God willing, we have some kids further down the road, and that's what I look forward to. I see, Ty Wilbur and Ty Forbes and John, they all have their kids, and
Hmm.
that's just something I just can't wait to do with them.
It's a gift. It truly is.
Yeah, yeah.
Again,
If
I think you're a perfect fit for that. So, you know,
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's great that you're doing
Yeah.
that.
If they want to do it, I'm not going to pressure them into doing it. If they don't want to hunt or anything like that, they could sit with me as long as they, enjoy the outdoors and want to spend time with their dad. That's
100%.
that's all I would ask for.
Same similarly, like my son, he's 11.
Yeah.
Um, we went out for opening weekend here. He didn't want to go to he didn't want to do the youth weekend. He wanted to go with us to set up the camper, go out to dinner, and sit around the fire and like do the hunting. And I'm like, dude, that's
Nice.
awesome. This is great. But he was like, I don't like sitting in a tree stand when it's really windy, which he just realized this year for the first time. Uh, we had a wind switch on the second night, and it went from like 60 to 40 in his face, blowing him around in a tree stand. I'm behind him in another tree in my saddle. He's fully harnessed in, and he's like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I'm like, we can get down, buddy. It's fine. So
I don't blame him. I
yeah,
don't blame him one bit. I hate the freaking wind, man.
but I won't make him. I'm like, hey man, don't worry about it. We don't have to do it. As long we'll hunt when you're ready to hunt, and we will not hunt if that's how it's going to be. I'm not going to force you to do that. So
That's
it's
awesome.
kind of fun. If somebody were to say want to get into a land management program for themselves, or at least start investigating some ways to improve their own property,
Hmm.
maybe I know you said you had to do a lot of digging yourself. What would be like the number one thing you would tell people this is what you really want to do first?
Yeah, go to your USDA office or NRCS and just have a sit down with them on, this is what I have, this is what I want to get out of it. And like I said before, like if I didn't need the money to, pay for the mortgage on the property, then I would not have done majority of it in CRP because
Okay.
you have to stick to the government's plan.
Sure.
If you start to go away from that and you're not going to get your payment. They're
Mhm.
leasing from you. But go down, sit with them, and really put forward your goals. The same thing with the forester. Tell them why you want to put it into a forestry plan. I just put my dad's property into it, and I told him we want good deer habitat. We don't want anyone come in, harvest any timber, nothing like that. We want to get rid of invasives. Just keep it simple and take it one small project at a time. Because if you start to, yes, look at the big picture, but if you get overwhelmed with all the different projects, it's going to drive you nuts. So
Yeah.
try and set little goals. Like for this year, my goal is to get all those 3,200 trees in. I'm good.
For anybody that didn't hear that, that was 3,200 trees.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Last year we did, how many did I do last year? Maybe 15, 1,600 by hand with a dibble bar. Dumb.
Whoa.
My hands were stuck. Like literally, I could not move because of the dibble bar moving it back and
Yeah.
forth. I'm mad,
Wow.
but I love it.
Impressive, man.
It's fun. A lot. I would say maybe about 75% success rate from last year, which is
That's
really good.
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you do any soil testing prior to did you do any manipulation with the soil pH at all? It was all pretty good.
Yeah. It was all
You don't know.
it was all ag field.
Okay.
So the big reason why I put it into CRP was just because of the washout. You get a bad rain on the top of my hill, it's all downhill slope, and it was just washing out these fields. So putting in these shrubs, putting in these, native grasses,
Hmm.
um, I knew where to put these shrubs based off of what they prefer. I'm going to put those dogwoods into some of those lower areas where they're going to have more moisture, swamp white oak down into those lower areas. Hazelnut seem to do fine as long as they're getting full sun. So I know where to put them based off of what they prefer.
And you know that based on what you have taught yourself, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Through my cousin, he's been a great resource for me. And then just going online, like you look up the plant, it's going to say what it prefers.
Right.
And then
They have a little tag on them. It says
yeah,
sun 6 to 8 hours.
there's stuff that yeah, there's stuff that I mess up. There's
Sure.
I put apple trees around black walnut, not realizing that they secrete a chemical through the roots that will kill other fruit trees around there.
The apple trees do, or the black
No,
walnuts
the
do?
black walnut.
Really? I would
Hmm.
have never known that. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Well, I found out the hard way. So you
Wow.
plant all the trees and they look like they got, glyphosate on them.
Whoa. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're constantly learning, which is awesome.
But that's part of it. That's
Yeah.
part of what you love.
Yeah,
Yeah, man,
definitely.
that's really cool. You said that you had a meeting with these guys. Like, is this something you have to get on their calendar, or can you just walk into their office and have a meeting?
Schedule an appointment.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, schedule an appointment.
I was surprised to hear you say that.
They're usually smaller offices, and I know these guys now like the back of my hand. I could call them up. I got their numbers, so I'm constantly, asking questions like, okay, if I want to put a piece into a forestry plan, what's the minimum number of acres that I need to put in there to get the tax, write off to
Hmm.
lower my taxes? Because there is an incentive for taxes and getting money off of it, which
Right.
take advantage of. Why
100%.
why pay more taxes if you don't have to?
As we see unfolding before our very eyes every day on television and in the news,
Yes.
stop paying taxes unnecessarily, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, just and they're there for resource. They're just ask them a bunch of questions and ask people that have done the programs. I've been lucky enough where I have people across the street, neighbor down the road. He has done all this, so bounce off ideas from him. It's been good. We have a good community, which is nice.
Does your community over there, are they all hunters as well?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you guys kind of discuss
Very
Q&A.
good. Very good land managers, which we're
Awesome.
very fortunate. You could have a great property, but if your neighbors are killing everything and anything, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. So that's one of the things that I tell people when they're going to go look to buy a piece. Look at your axis and look at your neighbors. Those are two big things to look at.
When you
And
say look at your neighbors, explain.
try and get an idea. Either go up and talk to them to see if they do hunt, or get up onto the boundaries and look to see, okay, are they putting stands up on my boundary,
Mm,
and are they going to be blowing deer in? Should I be putting the bedding along their boundaries so that they can spook everything into my property? Just have an idea on how everything lays out. What do the other properties not have that I could put onto my piece?
okay.
Mine was bedding. I have ag everywhere, but the bedding was what we were missing, and water. So I put in two watering holes and I put in a lot of edge.
Okay.
It's going to allow for those bucks. Okay. They can't see from me to the wall here. They're going to have to go around and look. Okay. What's on that other side? More edge, more movement. It's
Yeah,
great.
love it.
Yeah.
That's
It's
smart.
great.
I have a good friend who owns some property here in Michigan, and he has owned some bad properties in Michigan as well. And he's like, I have learned that I don't want a property with more than three neighbors. So if
Yeah.
you got like a bunch of 5 or 10 acre pieces that are surrounding your 60 or 80,
Hmm.
that's way more of, I mean, it should make sense if you when you hear it out loud. It's way more of a problem than if you've got like three larger neighbors because
Yeah. It's more
just
people you got
basic
to worry
math.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you
Yeah.
said, because I've got one just north of my house here. It's 80 acres and there's a freaking tree stand at every property right on the fence line.
Yeah. And you got to see how they're coming in too.
Yeah.
Again, it could ruin your whole hunt.
Yep. And they're
I've
all
been,
little 5 acre slivers that go right back to this. So there's only one way in.
yeah, you don't think the deer are seeing you or
Yeah.
seeing them coming in? Get
Yeah.
out of here. Like the
That's
big thing
funny.
for me that I've been dealing with are dogs.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that's been just really pissing me off.
Do you know whose dogs they are?
Yes. Yes, it's tough because assistant sheriff.
Oh, come on.
So it's
Oh,
tough. So I'm gonna have a conversation with him. I'm gonna be like, hey, I trap. I feel bad for the dog if I were to get the animal in a trap. I do a lot of trapping to get these coons taken care of just because I want better turkey population,
mm-hmm.
everything, you know, pheasants too. And I would be very disappointed if I were to catch one of the dogs in the trap. So they shouldn't be out there. Get a ton of pictures of them spooking deer. It's so
You
frustrating.
just posted a picture, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
You see them coming in, deer
Yeah.
running out, and then
Yeah.
them right behind it. I'm like, yeah, it's frustrating because you do all this work, you try to stay off the piece, and just stuff like that happens. It's annoying.
Yeah, sir. Trapping. I guess I didn't have that written down, but have you always trapped? Is it something
Yeah.
as of late
No, I grew up trapping. My mentor
huh,
was one of my neighbors. I used to go with him, and we would do the whole trap line. I think the one year he got like 600 and something coon. Yeah. Yeah. Back in the day, it paid for his car. It paid for his wood burning furnace. I mean, you used to get 25, 35 bucks a pelt
Whoa.
just for raccoons. Now you got fox, coyotes, muskrats. And then
Hmm.
once they introduce the otter tag into it, it starts to add up.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah. Now we're, for selling the pelts, you're getting about probably $5 a pelt.
Ooh.
You know, yeah, if you want to bring them in, that's, instead of wasting it, put it to use at least. And
Mhm.
yeah, I love trapping.
What are they using the pelts for?
Coats, yeah,
Oh, they are.
fur coats or other garments. They'll like the beaver, they'll use that gland to make more lure. Supposedly people eat beaver. I don't know. I haven't tried it.
Hmm. I mean, I probably would try it.
Oh yeah, I would try anything.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, they eat raccoon down south too.
Get- Was that what was it? A coonskin hat? Like you could do a hat out of a raccoon, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. You don't see. I don't know anybody with anything that is made of raccoon pelt.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
was just trying to envision who's buying what these days and where it's going. Are they shipping it overseas?
The market used to be Russia and China.
Mm.
And then I think a lot of the markets they're just creating their own farm fur,
Oh,
instead of
yeah,
buying it in.
sure.
So that's what really hurt the industry here, unfortunately.
Darn.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of coyote?
I am not up there enough to run a coyote set.
Oh, okay.
I would love to let my coyote set sit for a week or two. So once I
Hmm.
move up there, I'm going to start to hit them pretty hard. But I ran coyote traps before with my mentor and his nephew, and we'd get quite a few. Yeah, it's just I need to be able to check the traps, and I'd hate to make
Right.
this set and for a day and a half and then come back home.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Interesting. Man, there's so much to unpack there. There is so many people who trap who are very successful in the woods.
yeah,
I've not really looked into the correlation, but there's got to be something with the intimacy of you running a trap line and what you're seeing and how you're reading things, tracks,
yeah.
all the various sign that you see and how that correlates to being a successful deer hunter. There's something interesting about that.
I mean, we get into these areas that a lot of people don't get to go into.
That's true.
I mean, I tell people I've probably touched about 60% of our area because of, the trapping that I've done with my mentor. Like super fortunate to get to see all these different properties, how
Mhm.
they're set up. Oh, I'm kicking a lot of big deer out of here. Why is that? Go into there and we see, oh, super thick. The way that they're coming in, they're able to see everything. We get to see a bunch of different properties. That's what's cool about it,
I love it.
how everything's set up.
Man, that's cool. I've
Yeah.
I have um my wife and I watched Alone when we were trapped in the house a couple of years ago, watching everything you could possibly watch.
Oh yeah.
Um and I really they do a lot of trapping on the show. And so I thought I would love to learn how to trap, and then I just never did. But I really would love to learn how to trap. Just set some basic snares.
Yeah, I would
I'd
love
be
to do.
happy with.
I would love to do snares. They don't allow us to do them in
Mm,
Illinois. Everything that I run is Conibear or DPs, dog proofs.
okay.
If I were to set water, obviously I would use some water sets, maybe 330, 110s for muskrats. Um, but I love trapping.
That's awesome,
It's,
man.
it's another thing to be in the woods for.
Yeah.
It's and then you see the benefit, like the number of turkey that I have seen now compared to when we weren't trapping the place. I'm averaging about 30 raccoons amongst all the properties. I'm only running 8 traps just because I don't want to be going into these places, bumping
Sure.
everything out during the season. Um, and just the turkey numbers are just exponentially increasing, which is great. Direct
I
correlation.
I actually said that this year. I was sitting in the woods in Illinois, and I'm like, I never see turkey in Michigan when I'm turkey hunting. And there are so many freaking turkeys over there in that state land. I could not
Yeah.
believe how successful they are every year reproducing. And I know I've had coyote on camera there. Um, Not a lot of raccoons, a couple. But I also know that some people that around there that will work on the coyote population, so to speak. So
Yep.
I think that's been very helpful. A lot of people are really putting in the effort there.
That's the same by us. I haven't
Yeah.
seen as many coyotes this year, which is good. Got a lot of guys that are, running them and sniping them at night.
Mhm.
But the bobcats are making a big comeback. So
I did hear that.
they're having a toll on our turkeys as well.
Interesting. Mm. I've
Yeah.
never seen a bobcat in the wild.
So I saw four in 1 year.
Really? Recently?
Yes. In I believe it was in three different states:
No kidding.
Texas, Kansas, Illinois.
Wow. Okay.
Crazy. Like,
That
where the
is
heck is
crazy.
that? Yeah.
Jeez.
The one actually came into my mock scrape. So I set up a mock scrape in Texas on this piece of permission. Here it comes, this big tomcat come right underneath,
Mm.
pisses in my scrape. Like, you're in the wrong one. That's not
That
what
is
I'm looking
too
for.
funny.
Yeah, they're
Wow.
amazing animals. They know I'm there before I even see them.
Oh, I'm sure.
Crazy.
That makes me a little uncomfortable. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
there's been
yeah.
some sightings of some bigger cats out by us. Yeah.
Yikes. I don't know
Yeah,
about
they take the Mississippi,
yeah.
so there have been sightings of
Ooh.
mountain lions.
That makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, we've had a
Um,
deer carcass up in the tree.
yeah.
Hmm.
You're on your property?
Neighbor property.
Oh, baby. One time I was getting to dark, my first time, maybe second time scouting this public piece, and I was in between the corn and the hardwoods,
Yeah.
and the coyote were in the corn, and I could hear them. They sounded uncomfortably close,
Oh
and
yeah.
I had nothing. I didn't. I had like a pocket knife on me, and I'm like, I think to myself, "You're an
Come on.
idiot. This is it, man. This is it. This is how it goes down. Who knows? There's gonna be eight of them. They're gonna be biting my Achilles tendons. I'm gonna fall down. And they're gonna eat my eyeballs. My wife's gonna find me out here.
Man dies by pack of coyotes.
Yeah.
I can see the headlines.
But
Jeez.
speaking of coyotes in Kansas, I have never seen so many coyotes as when I was in Kansas. They
Yeah,
have a real problem out there.
they do. They do. And a lot of people do hunt the hell out of them
Yeah.
and just they multiply like rats.
So fast. And you can't kill enough of them out there.
No, and just the way that the terrain sets up, it's perfect for them. So they're running these ditches and
Mhm.
probably funneling them right towards another pack.
Yeah.
They're smart. They know how to work the terrain.
Yeah. It's impressive.
Yeah,
Well, listen, I sincerely appreciate you taking time out of your evening to sit down with me and chat,
of course.
let us get to know you.
How long has it been? Oh, a little over an hour. Not
Yeah,
bad.
not too bad.
Yeah,
Um,
that was
feel
good. That
like
was
yeah, it was exactly what I wanted it to be. You are still
good.
smiling. You're happy. We talked about what this
Always.
man. I didn't know you were so passionate about land management. I know you did it, but I'm gonna
Yeah,
be picking your brain, I'm sure.
yeah. Please
So,
do. Please do. I love giving back if I can and give whatever knowledge that I've learned. Like I said, I'm still learning.
sure.
I will keep learning. I'm sure I'm going to keep making mistakes, but that's
That's
what I
good.
love. That's what I love about it.
Well, why don't you let everybody know where they can follow along with you and
Sure.
Legacy Pursuit and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So you can follow me along on Instagram, the Hunting Life 365. I'm Angelo Giannoni, and then our team's Legacy Pursuit, same name on Instagram, and you can follow us along there. We'll get into it with turkey this year, and we're gonna be going after some whitetails as well. So it's gonna be a fun year ahead.
All good dudes, all good follows. Man, it's
Thank
good
you.
stuff. Angelo, I appreciate your time, man.
Thank you, buddy. This is a blast. We'll have
I
to do it
appreciate
again.
it. Yeah, definitely. And thanks everybody for listening, and we will talk to you all soon.